Hi, my name is Sanabria, and I'm a senior stylist at Salon Valente here in Audition Skin in Fremont, California. My passion for hair started when I was younger. I remember growing up, going and curling my cousin's hair and going to the salon and seeing my mom getting her hair done. I just remember I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to do art. And as I was getting older and going from job to job, I just was not sure exactly like where I really wanted to go. And I just knew that like my passion wasn't there. But when I went to my first admissions meeting at the beauty school I went to, I remember just feeling good about this, and I was like, I see my passion in here. And so I started my journey going through school. In May of 2015, I graduated from Marinello Schools of Beauty, and I was able to meet with Gary Valente, the owner of the salon, and he took me under his wing to be shaped into the stylist that I am today. Salon Valente is part of the Summit Salon family, so we are really high with education, and I am also part of the product knowledge team. So I am assisting with educating new talent, and then when we get new products inside of the salon, I'm also helping the rest of the team out by letting them know what the products are about and going from there. As I continue my passion with hair artistry, I remember just looking at anything that involved the Redken family and seeing the transformations that were so beautiful. So when I was able to take an opportunity to go to a Johnny Ramirez class, I just loved seeing how passionate he was about it and how detail oriented he was with his class. And so it made me want to take that next step of going to a well-respected brand and a world-renowned brand and just follow the education from there, as you guys have a really great education system. So I really wanted to be a part of that when I got the opportunity. Today, I will be showing you a way of balayage on my model, Lindsay. I chose balayage because it's the trend that continues to bless our chairs, and it always grabs the audience on social media. Because Lindsay enjoys a brighter look, I will be demonstrating a balayage technique and a baby light hairline technique. As you can see, Lindsay has a pre-existing balayage, so this is going to be pretty much a balayage refreshment, bringing everything up and showing that brightness to her hair. To get started, I will be using the Clean Maniac Pre-Art treatment and overlaying that with the hair cleansing cream shampoo to get rid of any impurities and oil buildup. I have everything all sectioned out here on Lindsay, so I am going to start with the nape area. I do have them sectioned off into two because we are going to be starting around the hairline. Then I have this big section here. This section here is going to be the part where I'm going to be bricklayering everything and making it like nice and higher up. Now I also do have with the front, I do have the sides sectioned off separately as well as the top section separately. I'm going to start with the sides and then work my way up to the top, just for better control, better organization as well. So I'm gonna get everything all mixed up. For lighteners today, I'm gonna be using around the hairline. It's going to be the Flash Lift with Bonder inside, since it is a little bit more fragile and a little bit more finer. And then with the darker pieces, a little bit more of a thicker area, I'm gonna be using the Flash Lift. And then for developers today, I'm gonna be using 30 volume with the Flash Lift, and then I'm gonna be using 20 volume for the one with the bonder inside. Once I get to the front, for the hairline, I'm going to be doing 25 volume, just so we can even out the same level of lift and processing time. The proportions for Flash Lift is 20 grams of lightener with 30 grams of developer. For Flash Lift with bonder, it's 15 grams of lightener to 22 grams of developer, having both be a 1 to 1.5 ratio. So I have all the lighteners all mixed and ready to go. Back right section first, and then I'm gonna go around the hairline just so I can start doing the fine baby light. So I'm gonna do a baby light and a slice right behind it, just so we can have that nice pop at the bottom. I'm gonna use a board also, just so I can have a better control. And I like that have that lip over there just so I can have a little bit more strength on this, as well as when I do close the foil, I can bring this higher up on the back of the hair. So as you can see, she already has a pre-existing lightness right there. I'm gonna just go ahead and put a little bit of conditioner just right at that spot there. And then I'm gonna be about an inch away from the hairline, and then I'm gonna slowly make my way up, making sure it's nice and saturated. And then where the conditioner blends with the lightener, I'm just gonna do like a little flick there, just so I can make sure that part there doesn't just stay dark. Now for this part, I'm just gonna scoot the hair to the side and just fold it twice. I'm gonna bring these down. I'm not gonna put any pressure onto this part here because I don't wanna cause a harsh line here. I like to start doing like the hairline first, and then I go back in with the slicing. I do that just so I can make sure that I have a good control of like where the baby lights are, and then I can start customizing everything for like the slices. So like as you can tell, she has a lot of baby hair just around the hairline. This part here is just a little finer, but when she does put her hair up, it's still gonna seamlessly blend. Now when I go here, fine, and I'm gonna do a micro stitch for this one. Now with this part here, do a little bit of conditioner where the line of demarcation is of the lightener. Then I'm gonna go in with the flash flip with pH bonder and start an inch away. I'm gonna use that lip to really make sure everything's nice and sealed. And since this is a diagonal back, I'll go ahead and just push this over to the side a little bit and then start locking in my foil for a little extra security. So now I have a good foundation of like where my baby lights are gonna start. So now this whole part here is going to be sliced with diagonal back. So right here, I'm gonna get started, do a very, very fine. I still want to see that pop. I don't want it to be showing like directly on the hairline. I want it to be coming from within. I have a pretty good section here. And then I'm going to continue using the conditioner. I personally like using the conditioner for like extra, to make sure that it doesn't cause the hair to get overlapped and cause any breakage. And then this part here, same thing, about an inch away. I'm really making sure that everything is nice and saturated. That's a really important thing. The 20 volume with the pH bonder and her natural heat is really going to help bring everything nice and lifted. As you can see, her natural hair level is about like a 6, almost close to a 7. It is pretty light. And then going back to it, I'm not putting any pressure in between the foils. I am making sure that it's nice and close, but I'm also making sure that this part doesn't have like a harsh line. This part here, I'm gonna do a slice as well. Now when it comes to this, of course, it's a very small section. My plan is to actually do like another baby light on this one here. Do that conditioner, do the pH bonder, perfect. Inch away, make sure that everything's nice and saturated. I'm gonna do a little vertical too. I'm done with this part right here. I'm gonna get back to that very shortly. I am gonna section this off to the side. And now I'm gonna get started on this side. Make sure that the sections are nice and clean too. I don't wanna do anything like, let's say that like I have like a really wonky section and it has like extra hair that's kind of coming from afar. No, keep it nice and clean, nice and blended. That's perfect. All right, so I'm gonna continue with a micro stitch right here. getting close to that line of demarcation. So I'm gonna go and make sure that is nice and blended. Perfect. Now going back in, I'm gonna do this side now too, and it's gonna be a micro stitch. I like to start this a little bit higher first so I can get a better control of like how this is gonna sit here. The hair is gonna sit on the foil. I'm gonna do a little bit of hair on the conditioner. Hair on the conditioner. I'm gonna do a little conditioner on the hair. I'm gonna move this end to the side. Get it really close to the other side of the foil and just use this part to really make sure I have everything good to go. Shifting it over, and now it's nice and locked in. So now we're gonna do that next slice. And then also, like I was mentioning before, back to back. Making sure that back to back is really going to help make sure she has the extra pop underneath. And I'm gonna be doing the same thing for around the front as well. So for this part, as you can see, she has a little bit more darkness just right here. My plan here is going to be conditioner at the very, very ends, but I'm also going to be using a little bit of the flash lift, the regular flash lift with a 30 volume, to give it just a tad bit of a push right there. And you can see that I'm just separating the conditioner there. I'm doing this part in like a lot more vertical just because I only need like this one section to really get that extra push. The 20 volume. Inch away. And bringing this all back up. Really making sure it's nice and saturated. Now, I'm sure you noticed that that I went over the flash of 30 a little bit. I think that that's gonna be completely fine. And I'm just gonna do a little bit, because it does have the pH bonder, so I'm good with having the pH bonder on there. All right. Perfect, this is all good to go. And this is why it's important to wear gloves. You get product on your hand. Right, so I'm done with the micro stitch around the hairline. Now, I'm gonna bring these two together so I can start doing my bricoleting technique. I'm gonna grab this whole section here. I'm done with all this, I don't need to worry about this. I am going to start taking about like a ½ inch section here. And that's where I'm gonna start my brick layering. So obviously this is a small section. And then I'm just trying to measure it out. I'm gonna be doing it in between here, but how I'm gonna be doing it is I'm gonna take about like a ½ inch section. I'm gonna take this whole section here, and I'm gonna be doing a thick stitch right here. So for her hair, since it is starting to get a little bit longer, I'm gonna be using a longer foil. And I'm gonna start here. Middle, and then I'm gonna flick this up a little bit more. The pieces that are on the side, I'm making them a little bit higher, and then for this spot in the middle one, I'm making it a little bit lower, so it has a little bit more, continuing that bricklayer effect. A good thing about this foil is I'm able to see the rest of this hair that's down here, so I am doing everything a little bit more vertical. I'm gonna do one more amount of the flash lift. And then you can see that there's still a little bit of a demarcation here. I am going to do just a tad bit of the one with the bonder. For this part here also, I have a longer foil, but I also am going to be using a smaller one to cover this top part. And then this part here, I feel like it's at a pretty good level, but I am going to do just a tad bit of the 20 volume here. And I'm gonna take another 1/2 inch section. Make sure it's nice and clean of a section. Separate this part here. And then how I do the brick layering, I already did this middle spot right here, so I'm just gonna ignore all this right here. And then you can kind of see like with the foil, with the 2-piece sign, it's right in between here. So I'm just ignoring this part here, and I'm gonna have a little bit of the hair kind of go over on the right side and on the left side, just so it can kind of flow. I don't want any like intense strikiness to it. I'm gonna take this next section over here, and she has a good amount of darkness here, so I am gonna bring this up. I'm gonna do a thick stitch here. This one I'm gonna back comb. I want a little bit more diffused for this piece here. You can see that I'm not going directly to the back combing, because if I do, it's gonna basically have all the hair just kind of like get mixed with the liner. I don't want that. I still want it to blend. So I'm gonna start midway. So move that over to the side, and I'm just lowering that one. Now I'm done here. I'm gonna go ahead and just move this hair over to the side. And then this part here is already nice and saturated. I am not lightening the end on this one. I'm just going to move them over to the side. I'm not going to put an extra foil to layer on top of it. I am going to use 20 volume with the PEH Bonder Lightener to really give it that extra push. She lifts pretty evenly. She doesn't do at-home color, and she doesn't do any roots to cover any grays at all. So this is all her natural, and so she lifts pretty well. Now I'm going to go with this section here. And same thing, thick stitch. And then a nice little back comb. Same thing for this spot. I'm gonna do a little bit more, I'm gonna push this back a little bit more, but I am keeping about like a good inch away from the back combing. So this part here, I'm still gonna do the same thing, where as I'm brick layering, I'm gonna do areas that are gonna be a little bit higher and more of an angle, so diagonal back or diagonal forward. So now I have everything all placed here as far as like you have seen the placement. So I'm gonna continue working my way up to right here, and then once I get to this top part, I'll show you some techniques that I'm gonna be using for this top part.
Now that I'm at the crown, I will be continuing my placement using a cross between a medium stitch and a micro stitch while backcombing, so we can see the color being brought up while having some pieces become subtle.
The This next part here, the hairline, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing my micro stitching. I'm gonna ignore all this here because this is very fine and it's just baby hair. If I try to lift anything on that, it's gonna make it look like she has breakage. So that's not what I want for her hair. You can see that I am doing it in a diagonal back because that's where her hairline starts. Conditioner. I did bump up the lightener on the pH monitor just a little bit with 25 volume. I do that little section here. I'm gonna fold this twice. Bring this in. Now since I'm doing diagonal back, I'm gonna go ahead and close this foil and then I'm gonna scoot this over to the side just so I can give a little bit more control. Scoot it over just a little bit and then I'm gonna close it. That will give a little bit more strength on the foil and so it won't like slide down and it will keep a little bit more of the hair locked in. So next section is going to be a slice. I am doing it back to back just so I can have a little bit more of a dramatic look but still also like with the baby light still have a little soft blending. Again, we're going to keep this part up and then once we put the foil on top it will help give me a little bit more strength. So conditioner. And then 25 volume with the bonder. Just so I can have the foil really nice and tight, I'm taking very paper thin sections with everything, except for like when I am doing like a little brick layering too. I'm gonna go ahead and close that foil. And this kind of looks wonky at times, it ends up happening. I'm sure we've all been there. I'm gonna slide this over a little bit. Now I'm gonna lock in the foil. I don't want to have any holes around her hairline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start shifting this more vertical. It's kind of in between a diagonal back versus and a vertical. A little bit more vertical for sure.
I will be continuing working my way towards the crown while backcombing, taking half-inch sections and medium stitch as well as thick stitch to see more ribbons of color.
The slicing around here. I'm going to continue doing medium stitching as I'm going up. So I'm going to do a combination of a medium stitch, a little bit more of a thicker stitch, just so we can have like little ribbons in her hair. This is going to be with the 30 volume. I have yet to do any backcombing for here. Underneath here, I do want to make sure that when she does curl it, when she does play with it, that we still have like intense boldness that's coming from within. And the way that I did the placement, it's going to still give her that softness, but still like when she puts her hair up, she's going to have a little extra boldness. When she curls her hair away from her face, she's going to have a little extra boldness. Close this up. Now you can notice that I'm doing like half of a close. I think that's totally okay. I'm gonna pinch these sides here just so we can keep less air flowing through. This is also a faster way to give your hair a little bit of a lock-in, but also making sure that it still is processing nice. And this is the part where I'm actually gonna bring everything just a tad bit lower. So you can see right here that I got this all the way close to the scalp. This part here, I'm gonna slowly bring it down lower and lower to where this is while still having a nice transition from lower to high. So what I'm gonna do with this piece here, I'm gonna do a micro stitch, separate that. I'm gonna backcomb this. So I'm all done with this side over here. This was the left side, and I made sure that I was repeating the right side on the left side, making sure everything's nice and uniform with that part. So now we're gonna focus on the top. I'm gonna do same thing, baby light, micro stitch. She has a widow's peak here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split this into 2 sections, because if I took a big section, it just would make everything kind of like not good close to the hairline. All right, so this one here is going to be a micro stitch. I'm kind of doing it like pretty close to the back combing this time, and the reason why I'm doing that, as we are starting to transition from the height of where the baby lights and the slices are, it's going to start following the boldness down. So this all here is just going to be basically a transition from being higher to a little bit lower.
I will be continuing working my way towards the crown while backcombing, taking 1/2 inch sections and medium stitch as well as thick stitch to see more ribbons of color.
All right, we're on the very last section here. I'm gonna take that next section, and then this one is going to be a medium stitch. I'm gonna backcomb this one. Again, we want ribbons and to see like where all that pop goes. I'm sure you're worried about the harsh line. I'm gonna feather it up, diffuse it. Once you diffuse it, you won't have to worry about that line. Everything's going to be sitting here for about up to 15 minutes, letting that all process. I will be checking it in between to make sure that everything is lifting perfectly. I'll see you soon. Time's up on the hair processing. Hair's lifted really well, and we're going to go ahead and rinse it up.
Since we did a lot of work on her hair, for shampoo and conditioner, I will be using the Extreme line for repairing her hair from roots to ends.
I'm gonna go ahead and start putting your gloss on. I'm using 20 grams of shades EQ 10N with 20 grams of 10P. I do want to add a little bit of like a natural depth to it, but I also want to control a little bit of that orange tone if there is any. I'm gonna start from the back and work my way up to the front. So you can see her baby lights are gorgeous, all really nice down there too. Go ahead and just start around the hairline first. All right, so I have the formula on her hair. She's going to be processing for up to 20 minutes, and then after I'm going to do a quick little shampoo. Then I will do conditioning, scalp massage, and then we'll get to styling.
Since we did a lot of work on her hair, for shampoo and conditioner, I will be using the Extreme line for repairing her hair from roots to ends.
So the products that I'm going to be using to blow dry her hair are going to be the Redken 25 1 United all-in-one spray. For ends, I'm going to be using the Oil for All to give a little bit of hydration and a little bit more protection as well.
To finish, I will be using the Fashion Work Flexible Hairspray for a light hold to her style, and Shine Flash for beautiful shine and to take care of her flyaways. So we did a lot of work on her hair today, so I'm going to send her home with Redken's Extreme Shampoo and Conditioner just so we can keep the repairing as she is taking care of it at home. And I'm also going to be sending her home with the 1 United All-in-One 25 shampoo. So this is going to be really great for her hair, making it nice and healthy and ready for the next time she comes in. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch my audition video. This was a really fun experience, and I look forward to hearing from you guys very soon. Take care, bye.